Hi, I'm live. Thank you for your patience. It's always when I'm trying to be up on here well, maybe not always, but today I was ready to go and then my phone cuts off and I'm like, wait, what happened? So if you're here, just say hi. Say hi in the comments. Want to get my notes together. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate you always. This has been, quite an interesting full moon, quite interesting messages that I've been getting. And then, of course, picking your oracle card, knowing like there's so many people who picked two, and then seeing what that was, I'm like, ooh, some of y'all gonna be upset. So let me know that you're here. Say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're from. I am Biba Ata. Welcome to my channel, Biba's Blessings Box. So real quick announcement, if you are here for the first time and you haven't already, please, please, please subscribe to the page. Click the bell somewhere. I don't, people point and the bell's right there. I don't know where the fuck it is. So I'll just point somewhere. I don't know. And click that bell just to be notified of when I upload another video where I go live or there's some, so you don't miss out. Hi, Hillary. How are you? Nice to see you again. See you like all day. But thanks for being here as always and for your support. Again, welcome to Biba's Blessings Box, where I talk about spirituality and all these other things, the moon in particular, which is always fascinating. I do readings, so you'll see me pull some cards from time to time with the oracle cards or tarot cards. I'm a spiritual visionary. I am also an intuitive guide, energy healing practitioner. Right. Long time no see. I haven't seen you in like, oh wait, a couple hours. Energy healing practitioner and an avid world traveler. And I always love to mention that I'm an avid world traveler because travel has really opened me up to so much of myself, not just the world around me. It has helped me on my journey to have more confidence in myself and also to have certain experiences that have led me to my own spiritual journey. It has been a part of my spiritual journey. It has assisted me in my spiritual journey. I haven't shared a lot of my stories on here yet because I'm still, working on what my channel's getting ready to be and all that good stuff. But, this past year, I retired from my job of 16 years as of last December. And I went down to Mexico where I was there for like a short sabbatical, was there for 4 weeks. And then since that time, I've been there for a total of 13 weeks off and on. So travel. I had a lot of moments where I was discovering myself, who I identified myself to be now that I was no longer, a senior compliance analyst for this whole situation. Identity completely changed. So travel's been a really big piece of that. So I always like to mention travel as a part of my life. So again, welcome. And what you're going to get here today, because we're talking about it, we are already at the full moon in Pisces. It is officially a couple of days before the fall equinox. Autumn season is here finally, and at long last. I know some of you are very excited about fall being here. Me, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't like to rush the seasons because I feel like summer's going to be back here sweltering any minute if I rush winter or fall or any of the other things. So, there's goodness in each of the seasons, like even in winter. There's beauty in the restoration and renewal of it all. However, it's cold. So you just got to wear more layers. But and the same with summer. It's usually too hot for me. I run a bit cool, but it's beautiful. Like I go outside, the sun is out. Like I'm a total sunbeam. So I regenerate with the sun. Now, too much is too much, because your girl sweats. So I don't like the way that feels, but I do like the warmth of the sun on my skin. I tan really well. It's like my favorite part of summer, just getting darker. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. And it looks so nice, just saying. So anyway, let me continue on. Really quickly, are you guys watching Only Murders in the Building? Have you heard of that show on Hulu? I've been talking about it a lot because it's such a feel-good show, it's like whodunit with Steve Martin and Martin Short. And it's funny, it's light, it's like, I wonder who did it. So there's a lot of interest there, and it just feels good. So if you haven't watched that, if you haven't heard about it, I definitely recommend checking that out. So, all right, if you don't have any questions, and I don't think you do because we ain't getting to the material, let's get into it. The Pisces full moon. So Pisces is typically a sign that's associated with your emotions. You got the fishes, you got flow, you got water. They talk about a lot about emotions and feeling, and they, along with Cancers, tend to have this reputation of just being highly emotional, and people just make it sound like it's such a horrible thing. But there is goodness in emotions and in feeling. There is a level of importance that we should attribute to feeling and emotion, but it's just gotten a bad rap. So you may be noticing that there's a level of intensity that you're feeling around your emotions. It may be a bit more heightened. You may be a bit more sensitive. You may find that there are situations that have been occurring that are triggering you, or triggering these emotional responses within you. I'll give you an example. I had to have a difficult conversation with a friend recently, and the conversation was going fine. Like, everything was all good. We're starting to get to the same page and a level of understanding. And then your girl just broke out into tears, just bawling, blubbering, bawling, just, oh my God, I don't know where this came from. The dam burst forth. All right. So whatever that little latch is to keep it down there, she was broke that day. The latch was broke. So the tears, I couldn't control it. They just came up and out. And I'm like, oh my God, am I crying? Like, I'm crying right now. This is fucking crazy. But I was triggered. And in that particular experience, there were certain beliefs that I have, old beliefs, limiting beliefs that I've done a lot of work to get rid of and to release, that show up still. So what I felt in that moment was rejection. I felt abandonment. And that was a story that came up out of the blue that I was telling myself about what was happening, even though that wasn't true. And the tears, it triggered how I felt before, those feelings from before. And that's why the tears came out. Just because a situation, an event, or stimulus occurs where you are triggered, most people think that the trigger is going to be anger. The trigger can be anger. You could be in traffic and somebody cuts you off and you're beyond flipping the bird. You are now rolling up on their bumper. You're following them off of the exit. You are blowing the horn like a crazy person. You are doing shit that is not warranted in that situation. You are just so heightened, and they have touched on a nerve. They've touched on something within you for you to act in that way. Now, who likes to be cut off in traffic? Nobody likes to be cut off in traffic. But a lot of times when that happens to us, if we're in our right frame of mind, we're just chilling, listening to music, like, you might roll your eyes and just look, oh, come, this guy. Or, say a couple curse words a little bit, but you're not jumping out of your car with a bat and, banging on his vehicle. Usually that kind of response indicates that you were triggered. So you can feel excessive anger. You can feel sadness. You can feel this stress or anxiety, like a situation could trigger so much of this stress or anxiety within you that you have panic attacks. For example, I know that one of the biggest fears that most people have is speaking publicly. So if you're in a room of 100 people at a work orientation and someone says, hey, we want you to stand up on the stage and introduce yourself to the entire company, that experience could trigger a memory in you when you were laughed off a stage when you were 5 or something, or you were in middle school or something like that, and you just feel yourself perspirating, you feel yourself getting your heart rate elevating, and you all of a sudden just like running out of the room because you are just that freaked out. And I know I've seen that, and it's scary to see someone be so heightened in that moment that they can't even breathe. They can't even breathe. They can't hear anything. It's, again, a heightened, sensitive, emotional response to a moment. So Don't be surprised if there's some things that are happening that you would normally be as cool as a cucumber, or that would bother you but would not send you over the edge, that now sends you over the edge. Now you want to be Jasmine Sullivan, and you got your baseball bat and you're ready to bash out windows and slice some tires because somebody said something, or someone that you know did something that has triggered this response within you. So this is the time when these things are happening. And what a trigger does is that it is indicating to you that there are some things underneath of the surface that need to be examined, things that need to be processed, things that need to be felt, things that need to be released. These things are causing landmines in your life that anyone could trip accidentally, on purpose, and that bodies could be scattered about should it be tripped. You know, those are those times when you just don't have any control at all over the level of intensity of your emotion. And the intensity of that motion is not warranted really by the situation that triggered that response. So it's important really to use those as opportunities to say, what is really going on here? What is this really about? Is this triggering some kind of fear within me? And if so, what is the fear? It could be the fear, you know, just check with what's the worst case scenario? What's the secret that you think that someone's going to know if it's based upon this trigger? So for example, it could be they're going to find out that you're some kind of imposter. So you may be feeling a level of imposter syndrome about a new project that you're working on, that you're discovering, you're still learning. And even though you're the best person for the job, there's still that part of you that's like, you know, somebody else could have done this better, or you don't know enough. And when someone asks a question, it could trigger the you don't know enough, or that fear that you're being exposed, and you can respond in kind. It could be that there's some abandonment that's left over from, you know, a situation from back in the day with a parent or something like that, which is the case for the, you know, uncomfortable conversation that I had with a friend. Rejection, judgment. It could be some sort of traumatic experience that you haven't really worked through. So don't rule out working with a therapist. I say this all day. Therapist, get a therapist, see a therapist, talk to a therapist. You know, to help you to work through some of the more, you know, the bigger experiences that you're just not going to be able to break down on your own. You know, it's kind of like joining a gym and you're starting to put some little weights on there and you're like, yeah, I'm doing all right. I got 10 pounds on the dumbbells and everything. But the likelihood of you pushing yourself really to exertion to the point where you're getting ready to actually break the muscle, which is what happens, like shredding of the muscle is what happens when you start to create resistance. And I'm probably sounding crazy, but ultimately it's how muscle grows. Like it has to be broken, or it has to be shredded, or there has to be a break somewhere in there. It sounds horrible, but for muscle to grow. And sometimes when we feel that little bit of pain, that little bit of discomfort, where we might need to stretch a little bit or just do one more to really take it to where we could really take it to, we're not likely to push it there. You know what I mean? We're not going to push us but so far. But having a trainer or a professional that you're working with who knows your potential, who is watching you and your form and says, you have one more in you. Do one more. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die. And they're like, just one more. I know you got it. And you do it. That's what a professional does. So seeing a therapist is like that. You're going to be talking to somebody who's going to ask you some questions that you may not ask yourself. They're going to take you to certain places sometimes that you may not be able to get to yourself, and make you aware of or help you to shift perspective about a situation that you're not going to be able to get to yourself, no matter how self-aware, you know, you are, how much you discover with it, you know, how much work you do on your own. A therapist is definitely highly recommended, and they come with sliding scales. There are free ones. Students who are studying to be psychologists or psychiatrists that don't charge anything, look up your local psychologist or your university where they tend to be, and you may be able to find some services if you need to, because it's it's prickly season. We are feeling it for sure. Let's see what else. Notice if you're feeling a sense of sluggishness. Notice if you're feeling a little bit more tired than you normally feel. Notice if you are feeling a sense of worry about your safety and security, your emotional safety and security. So if you're feeling like you're not protected, you're not safe to emote, you're not safe enough to feel in the situation, then that is a cue for you that the situation needs to be reevaluated and possibly exited. Just saying. Some of these hard conversations are happening these days because this is the time to do that. Notice how you're feeling. Some of you may be feeling a bit more light. Some of you may be moving on the other end of the spectrum where you're going with the flow. And that's what Pisces is about. Again, fishies, water, flow, current, all of that. So when you're in flow, you're not saying like everything is all high and fantastic and wonderful all the time. And I'm only going to focus on the good stuff over here. And meanwhile, it's a whole dumpster fire and shit is falling apart over to your right. Like, that's not the answer, to act as if everything is perfect all the time, because it's not. But it's also not to be on the other side of that where you're just pessimistic. You have no hope. You don't think anything is good, and you're only focusing on the negative things that are going on outside of you, around you, within you, and not even able to look at the positive cues or find the things for which to be grateful for. That there needs to be a balance, and typically being in flow means that at those times when things are higher or they feel good to you, then you can enjoy those things, you can celebrate those things, you can revel in those things. But then those other times when it's a bit more scaled back and we're looking at the other side of the emotional coin here, where it feels a bit more uncomfortable, more stressful, more upsetting, more difficult, more trying, that you go with it. You don't act like it doesn't exist, but you just go with it, because it is simply a moment in time. It is simply a moment in time. That's it. Go with it, because right now in this moment, it's gonna change. Right now in this moment, feel it, go with it, and then the current is gonna shift and you're gonna be going somewhere else. So staying put is not possible. Not changing is not possible. It is all happening. And the more that you're in flow, the more that you can deal with what appears to be the higher times, and also what feels like the lower times. They're just times that we ascribe judgment to, really. Okay. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about. So there's a sensitivity. I talked about the emotional intensity that's happening. One of the beauty parts of this time, though, is that there is an increased awareness of your intuition. It feels like because you're sensitive, then you're more attuned to you. You're more attuned to your body. You have more of an opportunity to be more attuned to your moods and what's going on within you. You're more clear about noticing things. And that means that there's a way for you, or opportunity for you, to be a bit more intunely aware. Now, your intuition is what it is. It is, everyone has it. It is, regardless of your religious beliefs, it's just this feeling of knowing when you can't possibly know. It's this feeling of knowing something to be true without any analytical reason or anything like that. Yes, adaptability. Yes, I mean, do we not see the crumbling? Like, are we not seeing this? Like, we trying to survive here. The crumbling is happening. Like, we can't patch this up. Like, we gotta let it go. So, like I was saying, what was I talking about? Oh, the sensitivity and the intuition. So it's an inner feeling. It's just this inner knowing, even though you don't know how you know. And because a lot of us are just so out here focused, not paying attention, we're not noticing the subtle voice of the intuition within us. We're not noticing how our intuition is talking to us, how it is warning us of things to be aware of, or how it's advising or guiding us of opportunities that have presented themselves. And the way that we get more in touch with our intuition is to get a little bit more quiet. Get a little bit more quiet. I know some people are like, well, you could do meditation. I don't know about meditation. My mind just starts wandering. I can't shut the fuck up. Like, I understand. Meditation isn't about quieting the mind. It ain't really possible. It's really about being able to be aware of the thoughts that come across your dashboard, your little forehead dashboard, and just letting it go. Like, I see it. I'm not grabbing it. I'm not pondering more on it. I'm not creating a to-do list from the thought. I'm not now adding more things to the thought. I'm not writing it down for something to do. It's just whoop, came, went. Just a level of awareness. I went to this meditation class once and I said the same thing, like how I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how. And what she said was just, you just acknowledge a thought and you let it go. So when a thought comes, even if you have to say it in your mind, just like out loud, I'm acknowledging this thought. I'm acknowledging this thought. And it felt like I had to say it every 5 seconds. When one thought came, another one was right behind it, on top of it, nearby. So I just, in my mind, I had to keep saying it until I didn't. And it felt like I was asleep, but I was wide awake until somebody drove past with some loud music and they parked their car underneath the window and they were like there just blasting. And then I was able to get back into it because I didn't ascribe anything to what was happening. Like the thought, it just was. It wasn't bad. It just was. So meditation, even if you're doing like a meditation, like a video, it could be like you're looking at a picture and you're hearing binaural beats, for example, which are these frequencies that are played that are supposed to be stimulating certain brainwave frequencies for happiness and joy and some other things. They're all over YouTube. I'll probably post some in the show notes once or the captions once this video is up. But they're all around for creativity, for love, self-love, all sorts of stuff. Just sitting in silence, playing certain music, being out in nature is another way to get in tune with yourself. Turning off the TV is something that is simple enough to do. Social media also tends to be a distraction. And the reason why this is also coming up around decluttering, more so detoxifying all the noise that's going on around you is because we're looking to go inward. We're going inward here. And all of these other things are stimulations outside of you that take your attention away from what's going on in here, right? So our sensitivity is leading to an increased awareness of our intuition. And we can foster that by doing certain things like detoxifying, decluttering, turning off the TV, getting off of social media, and meditating or walking out in the woods, and all sorts of other amazing things that you can do or discover to help you with that. Another thing that this time is about is creativity. Creativity is important. So when we're talking about all of these feelings that have been buried, that have been unprocessed, that have been sitting within you from experiences, old and new, that just couldn't be expressed, that you just didn't feel safe enough to be able to say the thing, you didn't feel safe enough to cry, or you just didn't have the time to do that, or you just weren't in a safe group of people or in a space to be able to be honest with your true feelings. But that stuff is still there, whether you said, all right, whoo, I feel much better. No, it's still in there. So you can use those feelings, those things there that you can channel into your art, into your creativity. You can use it to channel into your paintings, into your music, into your songs. You know, they keep saying, I've heard often, and I agree completely, hi, Yuside. How are you? Thanks for being here. But I've heard often that Mary J. Blige's My Life album is her best album. And that's because she channeled the pain of heartbreak and relationship woes into the writing of the music and then into the way that she sang the music. She's not the best singer, but when she sang it, you could feel it in your soul. You could feel it in your bones. And you're like, you know what? Mary may be on a stage in front of 20,000 people with expensive clothes and this team behind her, but she gets me because she understands the true feeling and nature of heartbreak. She was able to channel that into her music. So music, your writing, your art, whatever your like creative output is, this is a really good time to discover what that is for you. And even if you're not necessarily channeling it in terms of like, I'm using the color black to accentuate my deep rage, or I'm writing about my utter sadness, or I'm creating this song with tones that speak to my frustrations and my stress. Even if you're puzzling, even if you're just putting colors on a paper, no rhyme or reason, just free coloring. You know, my sister has a paint by number, And I'm like, I need to get one of those. And it just takes me back to when we had paint by number. And we had a horse. I'll never forget. She fucked that horse up. She fucked the horse up. I was pissed. And my mom was like, I am not getting you another one of these. She just brown all over the place. I'm like, you don't see these numbers? You don't see that the 2 was supposed to be white? Why is this whole fucking thing brown? Fucked it up. I was hot. So she has one now, and it's so soothing to do. You pick your little colors out, put some music on, get yourself some wine, and just start painting. You're not, I can't remember what that guy's name is. You know, the one with the afro that used to paint the trees. They got the show on Netflix, really sad tale. I haven't watched it, but I heard it was sad. But him, you know, the one, paint a little brush the little trees and a little skyline and all that stuff. Like that guy. Like, we're not him. We're not Degas. We're not any of these people. Monet. Some of us aren't. Some of us are actually Bob Ross. Thank you, Hillary. Bob Ross. God, I love that guy. Just so soothing. I used to just sit and watch him paint. I'm like, I'm not even painting. This is just so soothing. So we may not be Bob Ross. We may not be the greats, but putting the brush on the canvas with the paint on there, it just does something. So it's just so relaxing. And we can use that experience really to go inside, to quiet down the mind, quiet down all the noise around us, and just be able to focus on what's in front of us. So we're not so distracted. We're not so anxious about and stimulated all over the place. It's just joyful. So using this time to be creative is going to be helpful for you in your journey, in your healing, and going inward. This is a time, again, with the full moon, and I've said this every time we've done a full moon discussion. This is a time of endings. It's a time of completions, typically. It's a time of release, a great time to find the thing that you're ending or closing out, and adding a gratitude ritual, or just noting that this is an ending and you're grateful that it's coming to an end, and then set intentions, which is the next phase for what it is that you desire, for what you want to manifest and whatnot. So right now, this feels different though. There are gentle endings happening because, again, we're talking about flow and sensitivity. There's a level of, let me just kind of be easy. I don't have to just ram into it and approach it so directly. I can come around and flow into, whatever needs to happen. So note that there is gentleness here. And if you are approaching things not in a gentle way, it is not going to bode well. It's a time to be gentle. It is a time to have compassion. It's a time to be graceful, not just with yourself because, you're feeling a lot, but also with other people because they too are feeling a lot. We are all going through some fuckery right now. We're all going through fuckery, and it's varying levels of fuckery for each one of us, but it's difficult. We are experiencing a lot of difficulty and worry, and nervous systems are like, wow, they're all over the place. So just know that it's important to just be compassionate and recognize that you're not the only one going through some things. So if you need to have a come Jesus meeting with somebody to let them go, or to, say, this is not the way that I'm choosing to engage with you, or to end your relationship with a particular job assignment, or to leave a particular project because you just don't have the energy for it. It's the time to be gentle and be compassionate and graceful in your delivery of your decision. Okay. So deep healing is here because, again, the feelings could be coming up and you're feeling those things, and deep healing is coming because a lot of the feelings that you're feeling are old things. So when it comes up, when you're triggered, you give, my God, sounds like somebody's outside running over small children. What the hell is going on out there? So anyway, deep healing is here. And when those old things come up, they typically are an opportunity for you to do some healing, to bring things to your awareness, to release it properly, so you can clear out the haze of, your lens, because it's dirty. Got a lot of shit on there. Okay. So let's see what else. We talked about going inward, sitting in silence if you can, having some solitude, even if you have, your family, a partner, spouse, children, and you may not be able to have, a lot of time to yourself, a lot of quiet time, because there could be a lot of busyness, but it's just important to find, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it means going out into the parking lot and sitting in your car for 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Or if you in the shower, even that could be your time to yourself to just breathe and give to you. But it the stimulus could be a bit too much. So if you can carve out some time to yourself somewhere, even no matter how small it is, do that. It's going to be beneficial for you for sure. Let's see what else we got. Lots of shifts, completions, endings. We talked about detoxifying, decluttering, and creating some downtime for yourself. Note that you are, again, like being on edge. Having a moment where you can be quiet, where you can have a moment to yourself is going to be really, really, really good, really important. I don't do personal readings per se, but I have some cards. So I'll have you pick one of these cards and then I will give you the reading, like a collective reading based on the card that you picked. How's that sound, lovely musician? Thank you for being here. I hope you do subscribe and click the bell for notifications. So that is what's happening for the Pisces full moon. It's a lot of juiciness here. So really pour into yourself as much as possible and take care of yourself. Be compassionate and graceful where you can. So I am pulling one of 3 cards that I picked from the Beyond Lemuria deck from Izzy and Ivy. Isn't this pretty? Look at the colors. I love the colors. So there are 3 cards. There we go. So this is card number 1 right here. This is card number 2. And this is card number 3. So just take a moment, take a couple of breaths, and whichever card you feel the most drawn to, let me know in the comments which one it is. We've got 1, we've got 2, and we've got 3. So if you're still here, lovely musician, which one is it for you? When I drop this poll, isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, it's really pretty. It's deep too. Like I wasn't expecting for it to have such, intense meanings in here compared to some of the other decks that I have, but it's really, really pretty. So which one did you pick? You picked 1? There were some people, I think most people picked 2s. 1 was second and 3 was last. So we're going to go in order. So the first card for all of you 1s here, including you, it is the solar plexus chakra. Look how pretty this is. Isn't it gorgeous? So 2 is speaking. So you had, I remember you had 2s, but 3 is speaking to you now. Am I like messing you up? So we've got the solar plexus chakra. Such a pretty card. Now the solar plexus chakra, for those of you who don't know the chakra system, I'm not going to go into a whole long drawn out situation about it. There's a lot of information out there, but the solar plexus is it's above your navel, but it's below like the line of your boobs. If you're a woman, it's below the boob line, but it's above your navel. And it is the power center. So in the book, it reads the personal power, independence, self-discipline, confidence, assertiveness, decision-making, belief, intellectual abilities, expression of will, bringing ideas into reality. Now, the thing about this particular card, the solar plexus chakra, is that everything about it is outward. It is all energy that you are putting outside of yourself. And when we talked earlier about this Pisces full moon, this is an inward time. This is focusing your energy on you, your insides, your healing, and what you're putting out into the world through an expression of the healing that's going on inside of you. So you're like, well, how do we have this solar plexus card? And it's a time of going inward. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, even if you did not. Because the deep healing that we are being asked to do, the fact that we are being asked to go inside of ourselves, to pay attention to our emotions, to allow for those deep feelings, those buried feelings to come up, be processed and released out of us, is really creating a place for us to stand in our power. Okay. Typically, when we're having these outbursts, when we are in our limiting beliefs, when we are feeling in some way limited, and we're using these feelings that are seeping into different parts of our lives as the lens through which we are looking, we're missing out on a lot of stuff. We're missing things. We're focusing on things that don't feel good to us because we're hurt, right? So how empowered are we when we're using this information and it's not powering for us? It's not empowering for us, doesn't make us feel confident. It hurts us in decision making. The beliefs are limiting. They're not positive. They're not good beliefs. They're not things for which we want to build a strong foundation of our future and what we're looking to do. Instead, it's disempowering. So this time, again, with Pisces, is asking for us to go inward, to do some healing, to notice where we're being triggered, to pay attention to these things within us so that it is cleared out and we are able to now build a foundation on that of strength and personal power. Okay. So this time we're called to release in order to stand firm in your power. I had this analogy earlier about a construction site, like before they put a building on there. And we've all seen it. Like it could be a patch of grass. It could be a dusty, like dirty, tire-filled patch of grass. It could be a parking lot that's been, an not incremental use. It's some other term where they're just using it as a parking lot. So they're getting money right now before they start to break ground and then really start to go in. But notice, you don't start with a building on there, like a completely finished building on there when you're doing a construction project. Every part of the process, for the most part, is messy. They have an idea of what they want the building to be, what the kind of furnishings, who they want to put in there, how much they want to charge for it. There's this idea, this thing to which they are working towards. But they have to come in here with these big machines, these tools, these people with hard hats, and they're breaking ground. They're digging dirt. There's dirt everywhere, asphalt, stuff they've dug up. And then they finally put the foundation down. But then they got bars coming from the foundation so that they can create columns to hold the weight of the building that they're getting rid of. But my point is that it's all a part of the process. All of it is part of the process. So even though it looks a hot ass mess with, tools and people, and it doesn't make sense, it's not organized, it's not clean, it's not neat, they're in process to build a building that is going to be neat, that is going to be safe for people to walk through without hard hats and scaffolding to hold it together, where people can live and have their dogs and their furniture and be at peace and in these lovely furnishings. So we are in the process. Right now, it looks a mess. Right now, we got a lot of stuff that's just out of order. There are systems that we're trying to build. There are things we're trying to get rid of. There's space that we're trying to clear. We're doing a lot of work, or we're being urged to work. And we may be feeling a bit of resistance in doing said work, but work is happening whether we want it to or not, because we are being forced to move. What once was will not be again. So we have to change and adapt to what is on the horizon, because what was, it's not, we're done. Party's over, right? That's the past. We got to move forward. We got to adapt. And some people, they ain't adapting, or it's a bit hard, which change is hard. Change is hard. So, but it's a process. So even though there are times when you're just like, oh yes, we finally got the thing in and things are moving. And then there's a time when, oh my God, but this didn't work right. And I thought that I had this in the bag and this is not the move. All a part of the process. That's what's most important. The process is the most important, because once it gets to the end, there is yet something else from that point that needs to continue from there. Now the building is done. They got to get people in there. Now they got people in there. They got to maintain and keep it cool. People are coming in. They're going. Stuff is always going to be happening with this building. Shit is falling apart. Rebuild it. Natural disasters, problems in there. The building isn't just the building. It's not. The building isn't the end, is what I'm getting at. It's not the end. It's always something. So we're being asked to learn to be adaptable, be flexible, be fluid, and be okay with the process, because the process really is what's the most important. Okay. So that is the reading for your solar plexus, this beautiful card that came out. So card number 2, if you are a 2, drop it in the comments and let me know what is happening there. So you were a 2 yesterday, Hillary, and you're a 3 now, or you're still at a 2, but a 3 is kind of calling you. What's happening? Well, 2 is this. It is healing. Can you guys see that? Look how pretty. Look how pretty. I love the colors. I love this deck. It is healing. So I'm going to read the top part. Eyes are watering. Energy rebalance, energetic. Oh, you'll claim both. Okay, cool. Energy rebalance, energetic awareness, healing yourself and others, exploring healing modalities, Reiki, the chakra system, your unique and innate ability to heal, color vibration, soul sovereignty, auras, and the meridian system, aligning to the highest good and optimal health. That was a freaking mouthful. And it's like 2 pages about different healing systems and all those things that we can do to heal ultimately. So I'm going to show you this card again, healing. So how this comes into play with what is happening right now. Healing is what we're being asked to do. And this card is really talking about the different ways to heal. So there are different ways and different resources that are available to you, whether they are paid or actually free, for you to access, again, yourself, your feelings, your buried feelings, so that you can heal, so that you can be better, so that you can have a better experience or be able to now see things through a different perspective, to make shifts, to change, to be fluid, and all those things. So this card is really pretty. Healing, 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 healing. Different ways to divine, whether you're using oracle cards, tarot cards, you could do Reiki, you could walk out in nature, meditation, do the chakra system. So there are a number of things that were mentioned, but really it is about clearing out what isn't serving you. When we're talking about this Pisces moon, this full moon, again, there's an ending, there's completion, there is releasing. So using the energy of this time to release, but also using the sensitivity of your feelings to identify what needs to be released. You know, I talked earlier about the feeling some of you may be feeling about worried about your emotional security and your safety. And if we're talking about gentle endings and completion, if there are people in your life that aren't emotionally safe for you, they're not emotional safe spaces for you, or they're not places where you can express your feelings in a way that they understand or that they're willing to hear. They're not gaslighting you and telling you, well, you shouldn't feel that way, or, you know, we don't have time to talk about that, or making you feel like it's your fault or you're weird for feeling that way. Then maybe it's an ending that needs to happen. Okay. So create space for the healing to occur. Create space for the healing to occur. Get in touch with those emotions. Allow the sensitivity to be what it is. Don't try to act like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Meanwhile, you're crying profusely and you're sweating and you've passed out because you've had 15 anxiety attacks. You're not fine. And it's no longer appropriate for you to act as if you're not. You know, seek out the help that you need, whether it's using new age principles and new age, if you it's not new age, but it's because a lot of this is very old, but we'll just say new age healing modalities, but also therapy and some other things, like accessing that to help you to release in a way that is safe. So that is the reading for this card for healing. So that's for 2s. And then we have our last card. So if you are a 3, drop a 3 in the comments for me. So Hillary, you have claimed both. There were a lot of people who claimed 2. 1 was second, and 3s, you were dead last. So no, there's no race. I'm just joking. And this card is the Life Force Energy card. Look at it. It's so party central. It's so like, yay. I love this deck. So nice. Life energy card. Life force energy, I'm sorry. Life force energy, energy, mana, aina, the rainbow spectrum, bright white light, Reiki, celebrating life, God force, optimal health, being vibrantly alive, thriving, nature, conscious consumption, Eden, the body as a temple, bringing earth into balance, cell rejuvenation, the love of the land. It's a lot. But this card really is about also aligned with healing. It's about replenishment and renewal. So again, as you're releasing those emotions, that buried stuff that's deep within you, you are clearing out the way so that you can look at things differently. You can be a bit more positive. You can flow a little bit better, and you can be more vibrant. You can vibrate higher. You can be a little bit more bold. You could be a little bit more, more likely to take chances because you are freer, you're more open. So this really is about using this time to replenish and renew yourself. Go inward so that you can do that, so that on the other side of that, you can come out as vibrant, as rejuvenated, as more in balance, feeling more alive, living more optimally, okay? Being able to celebrate more of your life. It's hard to look at life as a celebration when you're just, oh, shit was so fucked up and everything was just a mess. And I've got all this old stuff that's just sitting here within me, okay? So this is the time to use to replenish and renew. And I mentioned decluttering, I mentioned detoxifying. That could be a fast, that could be a social media fast, that could be quiet time, that could be solitude. For me, I've been off the chain. I've been in my head a lot. I've been a bit worried about things that I'm not normally worried about. And because I've been feeling this more intense sense of worry, it is clouding my judgment. It is clouding my focus. And I don't like the way that that feels. So it is hard. It's hard given that there's so much stimulus outside of here, and it is lending credence to what is already going on inside of my mind already. So I know that what will be best for me is a day off. I used to do this. I used to schedule one every Saturday, like not every Saturday, one Saturday every month, where I would let my friends know, my people know, don't call me because tomorrow on this Saturday, I have 24 hours where I am completely not accessible. I get all my little creature comforts and my snacks. I wouldn't leave my house for a day. I would turn off my phone. I wouldn't watch any TV. I wouldn't use technology. The only time I would use technology is if I'm listening to my Spotify because I live for my music, or reading from my Kindle. Otherwise, I'm taking naps. I'm reading a book. I am just being alone. And that is a way for me not to be adding more stimulus to what already is going on in here. So when I'm talking to you and asking you guys if you had seen Only Murders in the Building, like, granted, it's a show, but it's helping to focus on feeling good. So I'm not in here worrying about what's going on, because all that worry is only going to do is going to make me focus on something that I don't need to focus on. It's going to make me do things that's not going to help me in the long run, because I'm going to be squirrel and just over here off on a whole nother project when really this one is doing fine. I'm doing fine. So, and telling myself things that aren't true, which is forcing me to rush and whatnot. So that last card is, again, renewal, replenishment, so that you can celebrate and be vibrant and live in a sense of more of your more good feeling, positive, vibrant energy. Okay. So those are the three cards. I want to show them to you one last time before we call it a night. We've got card number one is the solar plexus chakra. Again, this card is about your personal power, but you can access it through doing the work of going inward and clearing some things out. It will help you to stand in this better once you get rid of the things that are heavy and burdened that need to go. Card number two was healing. And this card was about accessing different resources and modalities to help you to heal, to help you to get that stuff out of you. that is weighing you down, that is not helpful to you right now, so that you could be more fluid and flexible to what all is happening, because shit is crumbling. And as crazy as it is, as hard as it is, like, we are being asked to be okay with what is happening and to replenish us wherever we can, to build us up to be able to withstand what is coming. This is the end. We're coming to the end. This is crazy enough. Coming to the end of the third quarter and moving into the fourth and final quarter of the year. And the fourth quarter is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. I don't know specifics, but I just know and feel it's going to be a lot. So we just have to be as prepared as possible, using these tools, new age and not new age, to assist us. And the third card is the life force energy. And this card specifically is about making your life force energy, increasing it, making it more vibrant and more bold. But that is through rejuvenation, through renewal, through taking it down a peg so that you could regenerate your own energy, and come back spit shined and fabulous. Which gives me a time to just mention this. I am in the process of doing an energy healing offering for you guys to help you to release your burdened feelings, if you want to call it that, in a way that feels a bit safe, in a way that feels more private, because I know that a lot of times we're scared to sit with some of the old stuff because it's highly triggered. And we don't want to black out. We don't want to cuss somebody out. We don't want to do anything impulsive or that's going to be harmful to you or to someone else. Maybe you're not ready to end things so starkly and in such a bad way, and you're afraid that touching on any of that stuff is going to drive you to a decision that, or to say something or do something that you can't get back. So I do energy healing, and I put together a visualization that can help to release some of those old buried emotions in a way that's safe, and also that's loving and compassionate for you. So I'm going to actually put the link to it in the caption once I change it around. It's going to be available starting tomorrow at noon. So if I don't have it here, just come back and look for it. I'll be sure to tag some folks or mention it in the comments, but definitely take a look at the captions, and it will be available tomorrow. It's only $11, $11.11. So it is sensibly priced. It's very powerful. And my whole intention is for you to walk away feeling a bit lighter and to be able to use it until the end of time. Like, just because we're talking about Pisces full moon doesn't mean that you can't access and use that whenever you need to, because again, ebbing and flowing. So we're bound to come upon a period where our emotions are high and we need a little something to help out. So it's available. It's going to be in audio. It's going to come in audio for you guys, but I'm also going to make sure that there's like a little handout so that you can follow along. So it's written for some of the energy healing stuff. So I will make sure that that's in the caption. So you'll be seeing that soon, but it drops tomorrow at noon. All right. If you have any questions about it, or if you want me to send you an email or anything, you can email me at bibas, BIBAS, blessings, plural, box @gmail. I'll also put that in the caption. If this has been helpful for you, if you would enjoy this, I am always open to donations, and you can do so at Cashapp, $SupernovaB, SupernovaB, letter B. Venmo at SupernovaB, so same, and PayPal.me/workwithBiba, and that is spelled BIBA. So thank you for being here. Please share, please subscribe, please hit the bell, and I will be back here for the new moon in whatever sign it's in. I will get to it. I'm just focusing on making sure I'm straight. So my day off is on Wednesday. Don't call me, don't fax me. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna be up on here, so that Thursday I can come back and I can be a full-blown light beam like my hair right now. So thank you guys so much. And I will talk to you real soon. Take care. Oh, it's in Libra. Oh, God. All right. Bye.